Hold on, stop. Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
I'm actually amazed that we're all friends.
Mike, I will reach across this table and the whole entire world will hear me bitch slap
Do you have any duct
Not
tape?
punch you, slap.
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.
Hello, and welcome to Take on the World. Episode 15. The Brutal Murder of John.
Fucking with his rapper. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
What do you do?
Did you ever see Mia do that?
What, where
What?
she's lying?
No. What?
What?
She's lying.
When she says she doesn't know what you're talking about?
No. So I was intentionally fucking with the rapper to piss you off.
Oh, yeah, no, I know she does that.
And I told her that. So when you have a bag of Doritos or chips, just keep fishing around in there. And she did it to her mom the one day. She'd stop. Her mom's like playing like some game on her phone. She's looking at me like smiling, like go again. And after about, I don't know, like 2 minutes, finally Melissa's like, "Would you just take us your goddamn chips? Stop fucking around." She started laughing. Oh my god, it was hilarious.
I just realized I dropped the ball. I didn't even give us a chance to introduce ourselves. I was just so overcome with murderous thoughts.
Doesn't matter. They already know who we are, Katie. We're infamous by this time.
Yeah, we're infamous, all right.
Mike, you should get a big skull or a big cobweb tattoo on your head.
No thanks. I almost got a head tattoo once.
Yeah?
I decided against it.
Which one?
Like a whole big piece?
Yeah. I figured if I didn't want to show it, I could just grow my hair. I didn't do it, though.
What were you going to get?
I'm not going to say.
What were you going to
Oh,
get?
come on.
I'm not saying.
You didn't get it. So it doesn't
Well,
count.
yeah, you didn't do it, so...
The Steelers tattoo I have on my leg, I was going to put it on the right side of my head.
Oh, thank God you didn't.
You are so...
I'm glad I didn't because I don't watch football anymore.
Doesn't matter that you don't watch football anymore. Just, I mean, Jesus. For somebody who makes calculated decisions every minute of his life, that's like the most reckless thing you've ever even thought about doing.
Is it on the side of my head?
No, but yet
Okay,
the
then.
thought crossed your mind. Like,
Lots of thoughts crossed my mind.
At what point does someone think that's a
I
logical
also
thing to
thought
do?
about getting a dick and balls on the other side of my my big old head.
Never.
That one's still a thought, though.
So here we are, episode 15. Moving on with...
Aleister Crowley still fresh in your mind.
Oh, yeah.
That was cute. That fit.
That was a rough subject. I mean, it was a harder one. There's just a lot to ingest, and for me, I know you're more organized than I am, but when I looked at that, I was like,
Well, that's how it was when I was researching it, because there's so much, and some of it's minutia. You don't need to know it.
right.
What's minutia?
The
The stuff in between.
Bunch of poopy.
Minuscule information bits.
Bunch of poopy in between.
Bunch of poopy.
Oh,
But
okay.
no, I think you did a good job. I'll give you a COVID-19 air bump.
So today, we're talking about some unsolved crimes. And we did an episode, 2 episodes, on the
Zodiac.
Sir Zodiac Killer. And there's a little update on that. John, you want to bring us up to speed?
Yeah, sure. The update came in last week. No, you read it.
December 20th.
Was it? Okay, December 20th. What's the date today?
I think. Isn't it?
Today's the
Wait,
19th.
yeah, I was going to say.
The information comes out tomorrow.
We've actually cracked the code ourselves.
Yes.
But the infamous 420 cipher has been cracked by, I think it's a guy in New Zealand,
3 dudes.
Australia, and the States somewhere. Obviously smart guys. And did you watch the video from Reddit, or I'm sorry, YouTube, that explained how they figured it out?
Yeah.
I suggest you watch it. It's pretty cool.
I had it on, but I really didn't pay attention to it.
I mean, it's really hard to understand, but it's impressive. It's very impressive. So these guys cracked the 340
You want me to
cipher.
link that in this episode?
Yeah, sure.
You'll have to send me the link
All right, it's on my phone.
so I can link it.
If I put it over here, it's gonna.
Is that the one you sent me?
No, I sent you the Fox News one. I sent you the one my sister sent me. So, anyways, these three guys cracked the 340 cipher of the Zodiac, which was, 50 years later? And I'll let you take it from here, Katie.
Yeah, so like you said, it's basically three guys. One is from the States. It looks like he's a software developer from Virginia. Oh, it's the dog's gonna eat the chicken Mike
She's
brought
deaf,
for
Mike.
us.
I know.
Mike just
I thought
yelled
you
at
hear
the
the
deaf
vibration.
dog. The irony. The fucking irony.
She might hear the vibration of my voice.
Oh. I doubt it. Well, maybe. Sometimes she hears me fart and wakes up. But yeah, three guys. Dave Orenchak, 46-year-old software developer from Virginia. And there were like two other dudes. Sam Blake, he's a mathematician who lives in Australia. And Joel Van Eyck, he's a warehouse operator in Belgium. I don't know how he got in the mix, but he did.
Warehouse operator.
He just did. But yeah, so basically they solved this cipher 51 years later. And that's it for this episode, folks.
What is the...
Tune in next week.
What would the cipher say?
Oh, you wanted me to read it. Oh.
No, just let our viewers on a cliffhanger.
So the full text of the solved cipher says, I hope you're having lots of fun in trying to catch me. That wasn't me on the TV show, which brings up a point about me. I'm not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise. All the sooner, because I now have enough slaves to work for me in where everyone else has nothing when they reach paradise, so they are afraid of death. I am not afraid, because I know that my new life will be an easy one in paradise. Death. That death's just thrown in there.
Yeah, the guy on the YouTube video at the end, the guy who helped crack it, the American guy, said maybe, he's like, we kind of solved it. He's like, but you guys out there take it further than this. He's like, maybe we're wording it wrong. Maybe the context is different. So they had a guy come in, and he basically, it's the same words, but it's just said differently. So let me see I have to look at it. Where'd it go, Katie? Where's the cipher?
It's up.
I don't see it. Where is it?
I have to use the arrows.
Oh, okay. So he kind of went on like a linear thing, and I think the only thing that changed was the last line. It was, they are afraid of death. I am not afraid, because I know that my new life will be an easy one. In paradise, death. So they instead of an easy one in paradise, death, he's trying to play the words as paradise is death. My new life will be an easy one. In paradise is death. So if you know, going back to the Zodiac, he was notorious for misspelling words, leaving words out, and then you cut this with being ciphered. He was probably in his basement getting fucking trashed, right? That's what I think.
Yeah, maybe, probably.
I mean, his handwriting was sloppy as shit. I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
No, I mean,
My thoughts.
oddly enough, the FBI confirmed that the cipher was cracked correctly. I don't know how can you confirm that the cipher
they
was
couldn't crack it for 51
couldn't crack it for
years.
51 years, but you confirmed that they did it the right way this time.
Yeah, that's what I thought it said.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what she said.
Well, what they first noticed that it made mention of paradise and slaves. And they're like, oh, maybe we're onto something here. So they continue with what they were doing. Then they came up with, that wasn't me on the TV show. Now, if you remember the Zodiac had called into the quote unquote Zodiac called into a TV show, and he's like, I need help. He's like, I'm gonna kill again. I need help. Please help me. And so for him to say that wasn't me on the TV show, it's all kind of making sense. It's falling into place. Like, okay, so I think we're onto something here.
Right.
And then he I think on the TV show, they had mentioned the host had mentioned something about a gas chamber, and then his reply is, I'm not afraid of the gas chamber, but you are. He's like, my death is going to be paradise because I have all my fucking slave. I mean, I don't understand.
I got my 72 virgins. So
Right, like who is this guy? Like you'd think like at some like picnic he'd be like, in paradise I'm gonna have my slaves mow my grass for me and
Like it would slip somewhere in everyday life. You
give
just
me
come
the
out.
the Hollister the holy Hollister Crowley.
No, but interestingly enough, they used an app to crack the cipher. Guy's been working on it since 2006, and now there's an app for that.
Serious?
Murderous ciphers. Let's put that in an app. You probably have to pay for
Sweet.
it. It's like $4.99 on in the App Store, but it'll be well worth it if you can solve a 51-year-old cipher.
I'm not sure that there's Do you know any other murders that have ciphers in them? Other than maybe like some World War II fucking German
the
shit?
Enigma code.
Right.
I don't know. Were there murders with ciphers in them?
Don't know. I know there's a bunch of famous unsolved murders or crimes, which is what we're talking about.
Ooh,
And Zodiac is like the granddaddy of them all.
Here's another granddaddy of them all. The I almost said Ernest Hemingway.
D.B. Cooper.
No, the guy.
Yeah,
he was
D.B. Cooper.
he was the famous pilot.
D.B.
And
Cooper.
they put the wooden ladder up and they stole his baby.
Oh, Lindbergh. Charles Lindbergh.
Charles Lindbergh. No, he's a pilot, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then it was like, he's been all over the. I shouldn't say made fun of it. It's like been in Family Guy where he accidentally like flushed a kid down the toilet and he's like, oh no. He's like, you saw nothing. He's just like yelling at the maid.
So I'm looking up some of them. Sorry, I realize you guys were off on a sidebar, but did you guys ever hear about 1953 Paul Rubin? In 1950,
The rapper?
The guy who
no.
invented the sandwich?
Listen, in different spelling. In 1953, a large male body was found dead in a ditch by the Philadelphia airport with enough potassium cyanide in his system to kill 10 men and a cipher taped to his abdomen.
What?
I didn't hear that.
He also had a fountain pen gun and a fake alligator skin wallet containing a picture of Nazi aircraft.
He's a spy.
His glasses,
What the
thick enough to
fuck?
be compared to magnifying glasses, could have been worn as a disguise. This man was a hardened Cold War spy.
Told you.
Well, you were right.
I solved it.
What
30 seconds.
did they solve the cipher?
The cipher looks very similar to the Zodiac cipher, actually. And
Oh, yeah, it does.
actually, that is the Zodiac killer cipher.
Oh, 10-4.
Are you serious?
That picture came up when it says Zodiac was late 1960s and early 1970s. So, wow.
Fuck it, Mike. Edit that part out. We're going on our own here.
The victim was identified as Paul Rubin, a college student from an Orthodox Jewish neighborhood in Brooklyn. No progress has been made in cracking the cipher, which may unlock details behind his mysterious demise. Huh.
Wow. So,
Weird.
Zodiac wasn't the only cipher killer.
No, that one in 1953, and then this is actually a History Channel website, so this is the History Channel website, so nobody can say I'm stealing information. But the only other one they mention here was one in 1883, Henry DeBalthans.
Oh, yeah, that one. I have no idea who she is.
Fucker. Convicted of murdering his wife, Betsy. Jury deliberated for 9 minutes. Turns out Betsy,
9 minutes?
Betsy, who was shot and had her throat slashed, wasn't his only spouse who died under mysterious circumstances, like that guy in the staircase.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't see that, did you? Well, that's another unsolved mystery.
That'd be a great one to talk about. But, like, you just have to link that fucking show. And then you gotta watch that show drunk. It's only better that way. But, yeah, after Scorpion in 1991.
Scorpion?
Hmm?
Too Cold Scorpio. What?
This was on America's Most Wanted, you guys, with John Walsh.
I don't think there's any need to yell at us.
I don't think I was yelling. Sometimes I just talk loud.
What about what happened to his kid, man? Wow, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
John Walsh?
Yeah. Did you ever see the
That's why he did the show.
Did you? Well, I mean,
Oh,
the last sighting, he was at the mall with his mom with a friend, and she's like, "Here." I guess the kid asked his mom to go for money to play for a video game or something, so she gave him a couple quarters, and that's the last time she ever saw him. Just like that, Within minutes, he disappeared.
How many times when we were kids did our parents just give us quarters? Go to the arcade.
Yeah.
Just go to the arcade. Shut your mouth. Go to the
Just
arcade.
go outside, get away from me for the rest of the day.
There's ice cream right next door. Here's $1. Get some ice cream.
Yeah. And he was kidnapped. He presumed he lost his mom, went out front, and just at that prime opportunity, some dude came driving by in a car and picked him up and took off. But there was also, I think it was an America's Most Wanted series where they presumed it was, I can't remember the guy's name. He looked like some dirty, fucking nasty hick with like 3 teeth. He had prior convictions, all kinds of bullshit. And they did a luminol test in the back seat of his car. It's the creepiest thing ever. Like the photo from the luminol test is the outline. It looked like the Shroud of Turin, but it looked like a little kid's face. And he had admitted that he at one point had chopped the kid's head off and just threw it in the back seat of the car, and it just it fell onto the seat and just bled out, and the impression was, yeah. And then he got out, and
That's horrible, dude.
And then he just threw the body in some stream, in some waterway, and
I say this with no remorse and no fear. If anybody had ever done anything like that to my kids, I would make them suffer.
Oh, fuck yeah.
oh, I think you'd have a couple people behind you too.
Their safest place would be in jail.
Yeah.
So, talking about unsolved crimes, in 2019, experts estimate that based on data, our nation currently has 250,000 unsolved murders. And that number increases by 6,000 every year.
Wow.
It says FBI Uniform Crime Report estimates that investigators were able to close only 62% of murders. And that changes, that number changes drastically when I was doing my research, from city police departments to more rural police departments. Mm-hmm. City police departments close a lot more cases, murder cases, than urban police departments.
We'll bring up our main subject tonight. Well, which was going to be our main subject, but there's so little information on it that we just decided to make this a more broad subject.
In 2008, there were 4,428 unsolved murders in Pennsylvania. One of them was a local murder of Gary Redner.
Gary Redner.
A friend of mine did a podcast, covered this, and I sat down and, when we get going for an hour, easy, and we don't realize the time goes by. I sit down and listen to the podcast, and it's only like 30 minutes long, and I'm like, huh. And that was really the only information I had sought at that time. And then I started looking up information, and you're right, there's so little information about his murder.
I think I looked up this years ago, and again, it was like, just, true crime and all that shit really interests me, and this is long before I even know what a podcast was. You just YouTube and shit or watching stuff on TV. And yeah, you try to go down that rabbit hole with this one, and there's nothing there.
The rabbit hole is very shallow.
Yeah.
The police have sealed most of the evidence, most of the crime scene photos or documentation. It's all sealed, and I understand that because it's an active investigation. But there are many true crime investigations out there, and there's so much information out there about them. It baffles you. And this one, there's nothing. There's nothing out there.
It doesn't make sense. It didn't at the time, and it still doesn't.
He's a pretty high-profile guy. So Gary Redner he was the owner of Redner's Supermarkets, which is in, I forget what they said, 3 states or
Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Maryland.
Mm-hmm. 3 states, okay. And they're pretty well, at least around here.
Around here, they're well
I was
known,
just there a half an hour ago.
Gary was 55 years old and executive vice president of his family's business, Redner's Warehouse Market. Gary was well liked by his staff of about 4,000 employees. In fact, his father, who started the company, said that if you look at anybody in the company, he was more liked in the company than I was. Mm-hmm. And he was a well-liked person in the company. So,
you gotta think what financial motive.
I don't want to speculate on motive because this one's so close to our community, And there's a
I drive by the house every freaking
know,
day.
yeah.
I'm not sure
Which is still
one
for
it
sale
is.
to this day.
I'm not, do you know which one it is?
It's the one with the driveway that makes like a U and it has the wooden doors like sit right in the front. The house is gorgeous. It's been on the market since, I don't know if it was before or shortly after he had gotten murdered, but it's still I mean, the house, they wanted an outrageous amount for it, but I mean,
well, it overlooks the lake. It's a
does.
beautiful property.
There's
Yeah,
a pool in
all
the
those
basement.
properties are.
It's fucking gorgeous.
But for that amount of money, I'd never want to live that close to people.
I mean,
next
given
to
the
me.
circumstances, like, you think you can knock a little bit off?
Yeah, if you cut it in half, maybe I'll make you an offer. But I don't know. There's a lot of speculation, and at the time there was, multiple things people said about why he was killed. I mean, think about it though. The man was found beaten to death in his driveway. You don't just beat somebody to death if it's not something personal or there's not some kind of you're harboring some kind of feelings of animosity. Like
Or some kind of love triangle?
Yeah, that was one of the speculated motives.
Did you listen to the Mike's Friends podcast?
I did not get the chance to.
I thought this was really interesting. Out of everything, and I'd never heard this before, he thought that Mr. Redner would. Well, it was known that he went to Ganley, so it's just like literally like a stone's throw.
That was the last place he was seen alive.
Yeah.
Right.
Leaving Ganley's parking
So they
lot.
think he was running his mouth at Ganley's, Mr. Big Shot and
About being with somebody's wife, right?
whatever it would be, and then somebody followed him back and beat the shit out of him.
Yep.
So I approach things. I look up the information, and then I ask questions, and the questions I ask are the ones that I try to answer.
Ooh,
I didn't know that about you.
Really?
usually gave some false information. Go ahead.
What was false information?
He wasn't found in his own driveway.
No, he was found in his neighbor's
found in
driveway.
his neighbor's.
And his fingerprints.
Yeah.
His fingerprints were on a neighbor's garage door.
That's weird.
But he was definitely brutally beaten. Blunt force trauma to the head.
So, like I said, I don't want to speculate too much, but and the only place I saw this was on Reddit. Was supposedly his ankles were broken,
Hands.
his knees were smashed, his fingers were broken, and now actually from the police said that he fought back,
Yes.
that he put up a good fight.
He tried to.
So I don't know how they know that, but the only place I saw this about all the broken bones was on Reddit, and supposedly it came from someone who knew one of the cops that was at the scene or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not reliable information.
Whisper down the alley.
Yeah. So like I said, that I don't like speculating, but that was also mentioned on the other podcast that I listened to. Shout out to Casey and his podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but that's literally pretty much it.
His house was not broken into. His car was parked in his driveway, which means they speculate he was chased from his driveway to his neighbor's. And they're close. The houses are close.
Very.
And then he was beaten to death, and he died from blunt force trauma to the head.
Mm-hmm. Just to think that happened, literally.
In our backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And never solved.
No. It says here they've been from Pennsylvania to Jersey to North Carolina and Maryland, and every place they've gone they've hit a dead end. They're still not able to find anything that they really can't.
I'm sure they know something.
Well, all records are, like Mike said, everything is still sealed.
Yeah, because a lot of those times they'll keep that shit sealed till they have an airtight case, so they can nail you exactly with what they want to charge you with.
Yep.
Because they might go after like first degree murder and not be able to prove it, and then you get a lower charge.
So this was
You know what I mean?
March 9th, 2008.
2008.
2008.
13 years ago.
To have such a high-profile person be murdered right next door to their own house and it not be solved since 2008, I think that's crazy. It's crazy to think that.
Yeah, well, being if he was at Ganley's moments before he was murdered, I mean, you could, if his murderer was at Ganley's, I'm pretty sure you can get eyewitness testimony. Like, did you see anybody with him or?
I don't think it was. just the way that this seems to happen, it
You
almost
think they
seems
were
like
waiting for him?
I think they were. And honestly, on that stretch of the road, it's covered
dark.
by woods.
Yeah, it's
it's
dark.
dark. There's no headlights. It's not not very heavily traveled.
What time of night was he killed?
It's between 6 and 7, right?
Actually, the time they give like 11 hours from the last time he was seen to the time he was found.
Was it
It
summer,
said
fall,
Redner
winter?
was killed between 7 p.m. Saturday and 6 a.m. Sunday.
So 7 p.m. Saturday, 6 a.m. What time of year?
It was March.
March, so it was a little colder.
So it still would have been dark,
Right.
regardless.
Oh yeah.
And that late at night, not a whole lot of people are coming home
No.
from work
So now
or driving that road.
Gary Redner was divorced.
Mm-hmm.
He had 2 adult children. He worked for his family's company, but he also played drums.
Mm-hmm.
He started playing drums at age 10, and he played backup drums for Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
And that was mentioned in his obituary. But the last few years, he's been playing around the Philly area, like drums. And he's a man after my own heart. He loved the grill. I love going out and smoking stuff.
So
on my grill.
they're
He did
you
too.
never know, man. That's so scandalo.
Scandalo.
So
And I'm not trying to talk shit on like somebody local here, because I know.
I just want to be real careful because it's still the family's still torn up about this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, think about it, and just the cash reward, when this first happened, it was $10,000 for anything
There's
leading to the
still
crime. 13 years later, there's a $120,000 reward for any little bit of information
I think going
you can
down
get.
the Warren Street bypass, there's a big
billboard.
sign.
Yeah.
There's a billboard over in, I think, Shillington area around there,
There was
too.
billboards everywhere.
There was.
His father, Earl Redner, said in an interview, "My son was very popular. If he had an enemy, I don't know who it was. He was probably the most popular person in the company, and that includes me."
Well, I don't, like you said, I don't want to make speculation. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Fuck it, I will. So, do you think it could be like a gay lover triangle or something like that? Because I've seen the Bob Crane murder. Remember him?
Yep.
And
Hogan's
he
Heroes.
was bludgeoned to death in his
Yes.
apartment room over some scandal. Actually, they said it was. They were trying to prove that it was Wes Craven.
I did hear that.
Yeah, and it's pretty fucking compelling when you actually look at it, because there was a lot of shit, like blood matter evidence in Wes Craven's car that somehow got looked over or washed away or wasn't brought up, and he kind of just, skirted around it. But I always think that a hardcore bludgeoning to death is like a crime of passion.
Absolutely.
You're just so enraged. You're just brutally look at the O.J. Simpson. What was his wife's name? Nicole Simpson and Ronald Goldman. Brutally stabbed to death. And I don't care who you say that was fucking O.J. He had something to do with that.
Well, he was acquitted, so.
The glove don't fit. You must quit. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, like you said, Katie, a bludgeoning like that, that's crime of passion.
Absolutely.
So,
I'm not going to beat you to death and freaking pulverize your face in because you took $20 from me.
I might.
Well, I mean,
$20, man.
there was speculation.
$20.
That's it.
$20 is $20.
So, the authorities said they were not aware of any dispute or trouble that took place at Ganley's restaurant before Redner left. So,
Right.
if he was there bragging something up, there was nobody there that was bitching about it. I mean, because apparently there were other people there, and if somebody took offense to it, somebody would have said, "Hey, he was talking about this, and Johnny over there, he got a little upset with him." There was nothing like that.
Yeah.
And really, that's all the information. That's it. Over the years, investigators have been very tight-lipped. Search warrants and autopsy reports remain sealed. The investigation has taken place in several states, as you mentioned.
Right. So that almost makes me wonder then, not to know, slander anybody's name here, but does somebody know something that maybe that people do know the details of how or why this might happen, and they're keeping it under wraps because to protect the family's namesake? I mean, it's just a little sketchy. They wouldn't even release who found him. Like there was that was it. You just know that you just had to let the details out that hey, guy was found dead in his neighbor's driveway. Like if you know anything, call us.
I understand the tight lip thing, but at some point, if you release a nugget of information, maybe that twirls someone's memory and something comes up, or
you just don't know. You don't know what they have, so you can't say.
It's been 13 years. Like whoever did this isn't living with a shred of guilt.
I mean, but look how long it took them to catch the Golden State Killer.
Yeah.
I just saw something on that today.
And they found his DNA evidence, but withheld it for it was years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know how they connected it to him?
Yeah, it was ancestry DNA.
Yeah,
his daughter.
But they held that for years before they came out. They were just building a case against him, so that when it came time, any angle he tried to spin it and this and that, we got you.
So even if you don't give your DNA up, because he didn't give his DNA up.
Yeah, I think it was his daughter's.
One of his family members did, and they connected him back through that. And they basically had everybody in that family who they had DNA on. They discounted all the females, and then they discounted anybody that didn't fit this, and it was down to like 3 or 6 people or whatever. And that's how he got caught.
Yeah.
And like I would never give my DNA to one of those things, but I know someone in my family who has.
Yeah, I mean, my brother has. It's interesting to find out, and I think that's the allure, but do you think that maybe, and I've never read the disclosure, honestly, I'm sure it has to be in there somewhere, but like once they have your DNA, it can be matched to databases like this where there's unsolved crimes and shit like that.
Am I Nordic?
My fingerprint at work.
Am I Nordic or am I Irish? You're under arrest.
You're under arrest. Yeah.
You're a serial killer.
So I want to put this out there before we get too far off Gary Redner. Because this is still a local unsolved crime. If you know anything that can help police catch Gary Redner's killer, you can call Crime Alert with your anonymous tip at 877-373-9913. There's a cash reward of up to $120,000 being offered for information that leads to the arrest of whoever did this heinous crime.
And then you could split that reward with the 3 of us.
Yeah, could you imagine that if they caught him because of this?
Hey, listen. Do your
Local
part, people.
jackass podcasters.
I hope they catch whoever did it, and I don't even care what it was, what the reason was. Mm-hmm. Just rot in jail.
Yeah.
I didn't know him, but like,
regardless of motive, you don't get to play God and take somebody's life, so gotta pay for your crime.
the big difference of punching someone in the nose and taking. I'm
but
differentiating
you go to jail
that
for
myself.
you go to jail for either one, and you probably go to jail longer for punching somebody in the nose than you do for
like
murdering them.
You get away with it, scot free for all these years.
Yep.
You get to live your life while this guy's dead and
his family suffers.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
That ain't right. So
Negative, Ghost Rider.
oh, maybe the guy who did it someday won't be able to live with himself and turn himself in,
Or girl.
Or maybe he killed himself.
or maybe kill himself.
Oof. How do you continuously beat yourself in the head? I mean, it's multiple blunt force traumas.
Not Gary. Maybe the person who killed him killed himself.
I was just gonna ask you how that's possible, but I don't know, man. Sketchy shit.
It is. So what else we got?
There's a bunch. I was looking at a few today, and I think this one goes back to Beaver City. It's somewhere out near Pittsburgh, on like the Maryland border. And it was in the 20s, and they believe that there was a serial killer, serial killer, and they found, I think it was like up to 20 bodies like dumped in this freaking waterway. Some like were headless, torso-less. But then
In Pennsylvania?
Yeah, and then they surmised that, well, they think it was partly the mob. It was like a dumping ground for the mob. just whoever. But yeah, they picked. I think it was like 30 or 40 some bodies out of this waterway.
Ugh.
Oh, it's on the name of the place is on the tip of my tongue.
We'll wait.
We'll edit this part out.
No,
He said no. Fuck you.
Well, you don't want silence, Michael.
I get yelled at for editing.
You said no silence.
I can truncate the silence.
What the hell's truncate?
Take it out.
Did you find it? Yeah, that's called editing.
No. Biggie Smalls. I don't... What do you Google bodies found in waterway?
In the 20s, Pennsylvania.
20s, PA.
Actually, if you maybe just search 1920s Pennsylvania serial killer.
How did I not hear about this?
Yeah, things just fade away.
I didn't hear about that either. That's kind of...
It was just a weird, like, one-off search that I did. Like, I just Googled...
Show me pictures of dead bodies.
No.
The Swamp Murders? Hell's Wasteland? No.
That might... That
Pennsylvania
sounds familiar.
torso motors? No, maybe not. Why am I not? This is weird.
I know it was, like, in some, like... It was, like, by some big train station that they call it. It was, like, the Thoroughgood or something, or...
Hell's Wasteland, the Pennsylvania torso murders. Hold on, I don't think this is it, though, but that's... weird. What the hell are the Pennsylvania torso murders? Things that are gonna give me fucking nightmares. Dun, dun, dun. No. Wow. That's actually like a book.
Is it fiction?
No. Dismemberments. A vast swampy area just across the Ohio border near Newcastle, Pennsylvania, revealed a series of decapitated and otherwise mutilated bodies. In 1940, railroad workers found rotting remains of 3 naked and decapitated bodies in a string of derelict boxcars awaiting destruction in Pennsylvania's Stowe Township.
I thought the one I read, it was like a lot more bodies, and they were like, "You got another one, Sarge."
Well, they're wondering if maybe Cleveland's Mad Butcher. I don't know, never heard about that, but maybe if it might have been it was to a massive, well-coordinated 2-state investigation trying to figure out about all this shit. It wasn't just that what happened in Pennsylvania. They're trying to see if it was all part of this one thing, but they think that it could be the last piece to the puzzle that would have spanned 3 decades covering 2 states. So that would be more interesting, something to look into a little more.
They ever solved the interstate killer case?
The Happy Face murders?
No. It was they speculated it was a trucker because all the murders took place on an interstate. It was I don't know if it was prostitutes or women, but it was like 30 or 40 some women.
I know that with the Happy Face murders were all interstate trucker guy. But he left a Happy Face calling sign every time he won the bodies when he left. Yeah, or drew a happy face somewhere.
I've never heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, I've heard the Happy Face murders, but I thought that was a movie.
No.
Interesting.
I don't think he killed up to 30. I think it was like... I think he was in the double digits.
Interstate Strangler? Interstate 70 killer?
I remember when I was moving back from Arkansas back to Pennsylvania when I was like 13, 12. I don't know how fucking old I was. And we came back and it was me, both my sisters, and my mom. And we would stop at truck stops overnight. And so I guess they were too cheap to buy a hotel. So we had an old Dodge Colt, 1987 Dodge Colt. And we all slept in this fucker at a truck stop overnight. And my fucking mom used to tell us stories of this crazed truck stop killer They go around and kidnap kids and like, mutilate them and like kill them and they throw them in the. I was fucking terrified. I don't think I slept like the 4 times we ever stopped at that truck stops on the way home. It was like you would hear on the radio that stupid Runaway Train song come on. It was like around that time in the 90s sometime. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
That sappy bullshit song, those kids running away on the train. Like, I'm not going to sing the song.
Good, sing it.
Runaway train, never coming back.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Soul Asylum.
I hate that fucking song. I'm like, I'm going to get murdered at a truck stop. Mom, can I have a Snickers bar? Shut up.
Wow.
Here it is. Serial killer, the interstate strangler who terrorized the nation's highways, murdering up to 52 women, confesses in podcast to another killing 15 years ago that led cops to a human body.
Adam Leroy Lane.
Oh, for real? He led him to a body?
Supposedly.
Could you imagine? He's like, oh, shit, I was just joking, man. I didn't know she was really going to be there.
Oh, he looks like a real winner. Serving life in prison.
What state?
It doesn't say, because it says he went on a murderous rampage, taking the lives of victims in Harrisburg, York, New Jersey, and Massachusetts.
This one is this guy, and he's in Ohio.
There was the, now this isn't unsolved, but there was the first serial killer in Allentown. He was 17, and I think he killed 3 women. It was not too long ago either. But that doesn't make the grade because it was solved. Just thought it was food for thought.
Food for thought. This is leading to some like really interesting things. I never knew.
There's been a shit ton.
So close to home.
And there's a lot that like stretch from like Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. There must be like that easily traveled corridor right there.
And West Virginia.
West Virginia. Where the women are women and the sheep are scared.
That's fucked up. I was looking at this thing, though. It says about murders only in your state. Did you guys ever hear about 2009 11-year-old Jordan Brown arrested for the murder of his father's fiancée, Kenzie Hauk, and her unborn child?
No.
Shot her before he left for the school bus. Tried as an adult. Was held in juvenile detention.
Where was this?
Well, it says only in your state, but I've never fucking heard about it in our state. Jordan Brown. Let me Google that. This is weird. I don't know. Interesting. Scandalo.
Well, it's probably like that one that lady up north who fucking hung her kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure that's not... I mean, that's a well-known here, but that was kind of just like a puff of dust and it was gone. Nobody talks about that anymore.
Hold on. It was in PA. But this was actually just this year. He was acquitted, or he was exonerated, and he's now suing the state over a stolen childhood. This was... Where the hell was it? It happened here. It doesn't say where. Weird. I don't know. It doesn't say. What the hell? Definitely in Pennsylvania, but it doesn't say where. Well, that's fucking weird.
Yeah. Well, side note. Remember, did I tell you when I thought I threw my Taco Bell out?
Yeah.
And I didn't. I found it
in a cabinet.
Did I tell you?
You did find it?
I must have hid it for myself so I didn't throw it because I had all these bags on the table. And I was like, you fucking moron. You threw your Taco Bell out. It was only 2 bean burritos. I don't know why I love those things.
I'm going to hide my Taco Bell so I don't throw it away.
Exactly. And then 2 days later, I open up the cabinet. I'm like, is it still good?
Yes, it is. You found it in the cabinet. It's just going to be a little soggy.
No, it got rock hard.
New Beaver, Pennsylvania.
New Beaver. That's got to be out west. All those beaver towns are out west.
Lawrence County. Now he was in an Erie, Pennsylvania detention center. So yeah.
Out west.
You're right, CO. Huh.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you want to keep babbling on and researching shit, or? I think we should come back. I think we might want to hit this one again.
Which one?
Well, this one was about
Gary Redner. How long do we have enough to make a good episode out of that one?
Well, with everything else we talked about, we're at like 40 minutes.
It feels like we just started this, but yeah. We're at...
I mean, I wish I knew more specifics of...
I think everybody wishes they knew more. I mean, if you search it, you do yourself a favor, Google Gary Redner Murder, and you'll find the same information is just typed over and over and over on different websites, and it's like 2 paragraphs long, and that's it. Which is a shame, because...
I think the guy deserves more credit than that.
Yeah. And I'm not... I understand why the police don't release more information, but you think over time they might want to put a little something out.
Like, get something moving.
Drop a nuggie.
Little nugs, little nicky nug.
If the case is going cold, you know... I wonder if they still have a person actively... You know, murder cases don't go away. They just go cold. They sit in a file until somebody digs it up and says, I want to work on this.
Every so often they'll say, you know, pull a cold case or whatever. And hopefully this one gets the second, third, 15th, 20th look, whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Some weird stuff.
So with that, you got good information this time. We didn't steer you wrong on this one.
Did not.
We would not do that with something like this. I hope somebody hears this and calls up and says, hey, I remember this from that night, and maybe this gets solved. It's not going to get solved by us because we don't have enough information. So
obviously.
Yeah. With that, we'll leave on that note. We all got stuff to do. 6:30 on a Saturday. So we're going to go live our lives. You go live yours.
Please.
Take on the world. Hold on, stop.
Welcome back to the Shit Show 2.0.
Yeah, I'm actually amazed that we're all friends.
Mike, I will reach across this table and the whole entire world will hear me bitch slap you. Not punch you, slap.
Oh, this is gonna go downhill real quick.